All right, Commissioner.
Okay, commissioners are back in session.
I forgot to introduce myself, Christy Placer, Comptroller. The next item I have for the board is just the signature on the title that is the public defense vehicle that was purchased using grant funds that we will turn it over to the state.
Mr. Chair, I move that we authorize signature on title.
Have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that was quite a discussion, actually, in Boise, all the things that, what people are doing. One county went and moved furniture in the middle of the night. The commissioners did.
I think I know what you're So, yeah.
They're having discussion on getting their stuff back and when and what.
I did preliminary projections on payouts. I think we will have grant funds to cover those for the public defense employees, public defender employees. So I will finalize those up next week after we know what leave they use, but I think we'll be good there.
I was super excited to hear that.
Yes, yes.
Quick ARPA update. The spending dollars were updated as of 9/16. The 911, as Adam said, that'll be done. I had October, but it'll be done the end of November. Shanda updated on the annex projects. I've adjusted those dollars for contracts that have been signed as we go. We still have $75,000 or $70,000 in contingency. I did move the permits that we had to pay for and the drawings into that contingency line because as Shanda and I were working through costs and as bids came in, those bids did not include projects or design work. So I had to move that down there. So some of that contingency is going to be used up, probably most of it for that. I don't foresee any other permits or drawings that are going to need to be done. So that does just leave about $25,000, but we'll leave that in the project until it gets completed. Or closer to December when we need to have it all reallocated for sure. Hopefully most of those projects will be completed except maybe the suppression and HVAC, but the lighting should be done and the ceiling hopefully should be.
Anita's excited. She says things are looking good.
Yeah.
Going well over there.
The YDC Event Center building, we've got that budgeted at $2 million. I am hoping that the drawings, we have $35,000 and then you signed another $35,000 today, so that's at $70,000 for the drawings. I'm hoping that project will come in within the $1,930,000. And we won't need to reallocate additional dollars to that project. The boilers, we still have that budgeted at $350,000. We may have a little bit of remaining dollars. We'll see on that one. 6th Street, I do need to add $100,000 to that budget, but I wanted to talk to the board about that, just simply because those are those change orders that have come through. I think they're estimated at $100,000. Was the last number I heard. The only one you've signed was the one today for $50,000.
It was estimated.
Okay.
And so as we get the actual change orders is when we actually get the numbers. But
Right. So hopefully, but that number is not built into there now, so I'll have to add that $100,000 after today's meeting, assuming you approve.
yes. I mean, change orders. Any questions on that?
Okay, so I'll do that. I did, because I had already reported on the entrance, so on that 6th Street, okay, this one's going to be a little confusing. 6th Street, the actual road is going to be a capital project. The rest of it is just improvements. So Shanda's going to work with CM and find out if they can give me estimates so that I can break it out accordingly, because I'm going to have to code correct and code accordingly. That matters for financial reporting and asset tracking. The gazebo, I don't know what the cost of that is. That might be an asset. It might not be. So we'll have to see what that cost is. So she's working on that side. As we have updates, I'll notify you of that. The dump truck for Road and Bridge, we still don't have a delivery date on the actual truck. We did pay for the blades, so we're waiting on that one. The fair barns, we still need a final cost on what the existing one's going to be. That's in limbo still? Or do you have a direction on who's going to be? Do we have a delivery date?
No.
Okay.
That's one that we have already poured the concrete for.
Right.
Yeah.
That we might be changing gears.
Well, still under contract.
Okay,
I mean, so
okay, okay,
we have a total cost on that.
okay. Jamie told me it was like 65,000?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can, would you
Plus-
like me to adjust that and put 65,000 there and then reallocate the remaining to the exhibit building? Or do you want me to show that as unallocated? Because that's gonna free up about 400,000.
Well, not yet.
Okay,
Because
leave it where we're at.
we still have to have a conversation about what we're gonna do with the two buildings, if whether we're tearing them down.
Okay,
We probably ought to just put that on the agenda,
well, and I have that.
so we
as
have
a-
that
I have
conversation.
that as a separate line, 100,000 for it.
100,000 for it. And if we're tearing them down and put, well, we'll know in 2 weeks what the
Okay.
cost of this other one is.
Okay,
And if we need to put more money towards it,
okay.
or if we can buy 2 more barns, regular barns, and with the 400,000
Okay,
with a different company.
Okay.
Just to make sure that we're,
so
so
for
so
now,
we
I'll
got
just
2
leave it all
weeks
alone.
to get this other one kind of progressing and see where we're at.
okay,
But I feel really comfortable that we're going to come in at a decent price, just so that we may not need extra funds. Or
Okay.
before, we was only getting a shell and not a finished interior for
okay, so
1.2.
I'll leave that 1.6 intact, just spread the way it is, and then we'll just continue to update.
I would like to do that
Okay.
myself.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay. I need to see where we're at with the flagpole for Scott. Last I knew, there was just a few touches he needed to do with it. The cameras, we adjusted that down for the award that we received. And then I will touch base with Tony and see what projects we've got finished and which ones we need timelines on. Landscaping is going, but I haven't seen a bill for it yet. I know they've had a few hiccups on that, but I don't think that dollar amount's gonna change. And then the wet cells and some of those smaller projects, so that's all I've got. Right now, we've got 256,000 that still needs allocated, but I'm sure there's these projects that we've already listed that will probably take that dollar amount. Hopefully not more than that, but we'll see.
Well, the 2 buildings, I mean, and then
Yeah.
whatever 6th Street does.
Right.
But talking with you and talking with Shanda, thank you for working together and moving all these things. I'm feeling kind of comfortable. I mean, I'm nervous, but I'm kind of comfortable with our timelines and stuff. I think we're in pretty good shape.
I'm glad you're comfortable.
Nervous, but comfortable. Is that right? Is that compatible?
I'll feel better when they're done.
So will we all. But
Okay, so that's ARPA. The last thing I have for you is just a signature on the 2022 EMPG grant for the closeout. And this runs on federal fiscal year, so that's why it looks so old.
Okay, any questions about it?
Nope, Mr. Chair, I'd move that we approve the closeout on the EMPG grant.
You have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Yep. All right. I think that brings us to you.
Okay, just real quick, as discussed, we've been approached to potentially take another look at the forensic pathology lab with some state assistance. Had a meeting this last week over in Boise with the various counties that were involved, and they were supportive of going forward. And part of that support is running one more test of performing autopsies here at Portneuf during the month of, hopefully end of October, 1st of November, so that we would have, again, it depends on how quickly we can get this posted and stuff, so we'll talk more. But, so we could have some data to take to the state legislature for funding potential in January. There's a state committee that's been working on that, and this is part of the presentation to that committee that we would like to have during the month of November, so that when it comes time, it's a JLOC committee, so when it comes time for a proposal to the legislature, we can give them some data that this is what we were able to do, and this is what we would like to request as far as construction funds and ongoing support funds. So this is just a step in that direction. There is one change I would like to make. We were talked about using Boise's fees for this test, and the full autopsy is listed as $2,300. I would like to move that to $25. I think that's more in line with where Ada County is at. And then the rest of the fees are right in line with what Ada County has said that they're charging for theirs. And again, we would like to run this test over a couple of weekends. I've talked to the locum company. They agreed to come back on the same terms that we had previously. And so that would be the request, to publish these so we can go out and charge these.
You've talked with the hospital about
Mhm.
utilizing their facility?
Yep. And we're still, the contract there is still in place and our stuff is still there, so everything's in place to run a test.
Okay. So to run this test, you're just gonna open it up to any county that has bodies that they need to?
Correct. The 17 counties that we're, I'll say, marketing to will have the opportunity to bring bodies down here using this fee structure and go. So they'll know more in advance of what we're doing. In fact, we talked about it at the meeting, so everybody's aware that we're going to try to run a test. And so,
Okay, and we did put in the budget.
It's just a one line. We just threw it in a one line, so that the monies could be expended out depending on how.
And this was the money that we got from the state.
that is correct.
So it's monies that just sitting there. It's not county tax dollars.
If we are gonna make that an active fund again, we did not allocate money for admin fees. So I would ask that that be considered, because I'm not sure with Braden gone, who's going to do all of your
That's a really good
billing
question.
and all of that side of things.
Yeah.
Who's gonna coordinate what the schedule's gonna be, so I don't know if that's gonna fall on, or that's gonna fall on our office, or you guys really don't have the staff.
That'd be something.
That is to be worked out in the next 30 days,
Okay.
or 45 days. So, good
Question, John?
We have about 100 grand left in that.
No,
How much do we have left in that forensic
I
line?
think it's 675,
I'm sorry?
675,000, a little bit of that, I think.
675,000?
I'm looking up the budget.
675,000, okay.
Yeah, I'm looking up the budget.
We had 900,000 to start
Right.
with.
And when we got that money, was it specifically, what was it specifically designated for? Was it allowed to pay
Startup.
these operating
Startup.
costs?
Startup of a forensic pathologist.
So as far as you can tell, we're within the bounds to utilize the money in this way. It's not,
Probably. There's
Probably.
$675,188.
right, okay. I'm still opposed to us getting involved in a forensic lab. I laid out the numbers more than once. I think it's way too costly. I don't see how we can possibly do it for $2,500. I still think we're gonna end up, if we were to set a fee schedule at that rate, we're gonna end up subsidizing the autopsies. I think last time it cost about $6,000 per autopsy. I don't see how you can do this without it being 3 times the cost of, what we're doing in Boise. I think it makes far more sense to either go to Boise, or if the state wants to set up an autopsy center through ISP, who already does toxicology, I think, or something like that, I think that's great, but I just don't see this as something that we as Bannock County ought to be doing.
And I've said that myself all along. After I missed most of Jeff's meeting, I had another meeting that I was involved with. But I talked to quite a few people afterwards, and they just want to know the numbers. And this is an opportunity to utilize these funds, in my opinion, to see, okay, what are the numbers exactly? Here's a couple of tests. We have the funds available. Because I talked to a commissioner from Kootenai County. and they're trying to do the same thing up there. And so to get the state involved, I think we do need some numbers to justify, and to get Kootenai County on board. They have 5 counties up there, they want to not have to travel.
We already ran a test. We already got numbers. Why do we need another test?
It wasn't a good test because it got shut down before we were able to do more than just one weekend. And so we'd like to do 3 weeks of what is the real data, because last time when we ran the test, we had a request for over 20 autopsies to be completed. We only did 2 because things got shut down too quick. And of those 20 that were requested, there were only 5 that ended up getting completed. We did 2, 3 went to Boise. And so with everybody knowing that we're going to do this and a time frame, we can have a good test and run it. And again, the whole purpose of this is to be able to go to the legislature and say, if the state wants to participate, great, and if not, then we're just going to walk away and be done. And because everybody agrees that there has to be some state involvement in this. It can't just be a county thing to do it because the counties can't do it. But if the state can help us get it stood up, then I think the counties, using the juvenile detention model, could make it work.
If we didn't have the funds, I wouldn't go for it.
No,
But we have the
we-
funds and the ability to try something. And I would love, and I've always said, I think it should be a state function. I think that the state, in fact, Ada County would love the state to be involved because they've got a $30 million facility there that they're paying for.
And all we're looking for is just funds to approve these fees for the test. Nothing longer than that.
And we can pay the publication costs out of here,
Correct.
so the commission won't absorb that cost. So,
And that's why I say, if it was gonna cost the county something at this point, I would probably say no, but where we have these funds and they're sitting there, then I think I would like to just get it on the table. Is the state gonna get involved? Yes, then they can take over. If they're not, then it's a dead item.
I understand the reasoning behind it. I'm just not in favor of it.
Huh. That's fine. So,
So I move that we publish these fees and start the clock rolling.
we have a motion to publish fees for forensic,
For a public hearing.
for a public hearing. So we have a motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
With that being said, we are adjourned. And at 11 o'clock, we